talk about some spiritual stuff, and just here for questions if you guys have something going on, or just for funsies. Hi, Monk. I think this is clear. I'm going in the right direction finally. I'm gonna tell you, as long as you're following your heart, it's always the right direction. Sometimes the mind gets in the way, but if you feel it here, it's right. Even when it's wrong, it's right. We have to ask, like, yeah, sometimes the heart brings us through things for lessons. Let me know if the music's too loud, you can turn it down. But, yeah, if there's no questions, I'll probably, I'm gonna wait for questions too, but, I'll probably read from the book that I'm writing about, mediumship and self-love, in between silence. You can see that now? Yeah, it's hard. The heart will drag you through some things that you're like, why did that happen? But later in life you'll realize that it was to learn the lessons you needed to. And that's why they say some people are there for a season, because they are there to teach you something. And I don't know if this is a person, but sometimes those directions are. Be together. Haven't heard this song before. Love doesn't come easy. I'm gonna pull up the dog. I've been working for the last 3 months to reflect and redirect my thinking. Yeah, and I guess my biggest advice is definitely like working on self-love. My first time happily sober. Nice! That's great! No, that's part of that, like, if you're working on self-love, like, you can see the things that are harming you and stepping away from that. So it sounds like you're starting to love yourself, so it sounds like a great direction. I've been through it too. I swear that all the things that I've been through has been to teach those lessons, and that's why I say sometimes life gets dark, but ultimately it's to teach us those lessons so we can help others. Aww. But I lost my ability to know who's bad, and hoping I can gain it back. So with that, just speaking from my heart here, self-worth, self-love is a huge, 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 huge thing. It'll help you with fixing your radar. Because if when you love yourself, you're not going to allow certain behaviors and things that you have in the past like seen as red flags that you were like totally okay with, like they're not okay anymore. So that's why self-love and self-worth is like super important. So it sounds like you're doing good, and your radar will get fixed the more you pour into yourself. Yeah, welcome in, guys. And hi, Blends! Welcome in, Blends. I'm happy to hear that. I know this is a journey. Yeah, it always is, and we're always growing, and as soon as you think you've learned it all, more comes. But it's beautiful. If you can look at the ups and downs as all just becoming the better you. Hi, J-Ro. Welcome back in. I'll be looking out for your book. Yeah. I'm working on it. Yeah, right now the first few chapters about self-love and how to like change perspective and core values, which is really hard to do, but it's like to dive deep in that several layers deep of trying to self-heal from traumas and all kinds of stuff. Childhood trauma, adult trauma, it's all over the place, and having to pull back those repressed parts of ourselves and stop repressing things and work through them. Because when we repress, we don't heal. Yeah, just popped on. Yeah, you caught me right as I popped on. Your new self-love boundaries will have you seeing shows differently. I know, oh my gosh. Yeah. I used to love Rick and Morty. I can't stand it right now. There's so many shows that I just absolutely used to love, and my self-love and self-growth is like, oh my gosh, I just can't watch them anymore. And I'm sad, but it'll just change your perspective completely. You found that out in rehab? Well, I'm proud of you for going through that. And this goes for just everything, not sobriety, but just remember that you're gonna have your darker days and you're gonna have your light days, but just remember that you can get through this. What are you doing? Do you feel trapped? You can go under the door. My cat's like freaking out. I'm learning that my self-love will spin out into the children in the family. Yeah. And it does more than that. Like, when you start loving yourself, like, it like ripples out to just everybody you know and touch. Big advocate for self-love and self-growth. I mean, I'm writing a book on mediumship in the first chapter, self-love, and it's like, it's getting up there in a lot of pages at this point. Why are people enjoying and like inviting me to join their lives? I don't know these people. Thanks so much for talking to me tonight. It's my first night alone. Oh, well, you can hang out as long as you want. We're just chilling. But I understand that. I understand that. It's my first night alone, and yeah, I get it. It was almost hard for me to go live today. So. You work service. Book 1 in 27 chapters on self-love. Yeah. It's that important. Very glad you did. Aww. Yeah, every time I go, the universe keeps reminding me that, like, there's so much good that comes from it. Why do I why do I work this up in my head, you know? It's not that I don't think I can do it, it's just sometimes it feels like a cliff sometimes when you're trying to put yourself out, and I don't know what really keeps me from doing it. Like, cause you think that, like, someone told me once that it's fear of success is just as much as a fear of failure. Like, what does my life look like if I'm to succeed? Because all I know is where I am currently. It's uncomfortable, just as uncomfortable as failure. Not knowing where you're gonna go, it's an unknown. So we fall into habits that we've done for extended periods of times because of comfort. And I'm not used to this, so. And that applies to just about everything in life. We tend to seek out the comforts. But yeah, I am definitely here for any questions about spirituality. I'm gonna move this real quick with you guys so I can open up my book that I'm writing. Any change, but every change I have done has made the biggest difference in the right ways. Exactly. Change is always beautiful, and it's just it's funny though, because I'm still afraid of it. Like, it brings so much good, but like, why are we so afraid of it? But maybe it's, I don't know, being from not being in an experience of experiencing much good, like having a life filled with unappreciative people and things like that, and stepping into this very different perspective and surrounding myself with completely different people it's groundbreaking, but I don't recognize like anything anymore. Yeah. My life was always so dark and dreary, surrounded by people that were just not treating me very well, and my life now is wonderful and strange and beautiful, and I don't know what to expect in a different way. That was the scariest part, but the most rewarding. Takers? What do you mean? Let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna pull up my book. Since we're talking about self-love, I'll probably dive into some part of the self-love chapter. Yeah, just any questions you guys might have. Oh my gosh, I recognize that name. The last name Flanagan means a lot to me, actually. Let's see. Fear of change gets beaten into people and during early adolescence, sometimes earlier. Yeah, it matters how it's beaten into you, though. I gotta say that the way that things were beaten into me as far as change is I always thought someone was stealing the stuff because I wasn't taught properly how to let go of things. Like, things would just kind of disappear, like my favorite toys and things that like I would have kept, like just kind of just disappeared, and I thought they were just missing, and come to find out that my mom just had an idea of like, okay, the room's cluttered, I'm just gonna go in and start getting rid of things, but wouldn't like talk to me about it. So I definitely parent completely different. But yeah, and I think that might be part of the fear of change, is that like I never really felt like I made the choices. I was just kind of shoved into them. So as an adult, like, making the decision to be in change seems so foreign, but I've done it. I mean, I keep doing it. I mean, we have to, but there's several times in my life I feel like I did stagnate when I should have continued to go forward. Okay, let's see. I'm in the introduction part. Okay, so this is, you can only love someone as deeply as you love yourself. Let's see, when kids try to experiment or explore, a lot of parents bring them back to a set of rails. Yeah. Toilet is not happy. Did you guys see that TikTok? Yeah, the toilet is not happy. Nobody's happy. Yeah, and kids do. They explore. They're trying to experiment with their world and push boundaries, try to figure out what those boundaries are, and a lot of parents don't allow those things to happen naturally. Let's see, no, Bean! My cat is trying to sit right in front of my book, and I'm like, no! Don't do that. Okay, so I never knew how profound this statement was until I met my other half and my twin flame. I didn't love myself yet, and it became obvious when I realized that I was not giving him the love and care I felt he deserved. This is kind of awkward. Should I skip forward in this? Let's see, basically I have been cheating on my husband if my love... Oh, cheating my husband if my love, since I lost love for myself. Yes. Yes. So maybe we should keep reading this. My cat, though, she's like, I'm gonna interrupt you guys. What are you doing? Do you want out? Okay. I'm gonna let her out, guys. Yeah, so I'm definitely, if this is resonating with you, I'm definitely gonna read it. Yeah, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love someone else. And I know that people are like, what does that mean? Why? And so I'm trying to put it in my book to try to explain it. There we go. Oh, word count. We accidentally put in a word count. We got 14,000 words in my book so far. And 28 pages. That's a lot of words. Okay, I don't know how to turn that on, but turn it back off. So cute, my cat. Yeah. Good job. I still have so much more to do. But, I mean, at least the first chapters are where it's mainly written. Let's see. I read that part until I met my twin flame. Wasn't giving him the love and care that I thought he deserved. He did so much for me emotionally, and his level of support of me and my passions were vast. But on the other hand, I was struggling with a toxic perspective that led me to hurting his feelings and or my own on several occasions. How could I be so judgmental and harsh with my partner that held so much love for me? The answer was easy. I didn't love myself. Yet he too didn't love himself all the way either, but he still loved himself more than I had love for myself. So the reason that this was coming to a head is because if you are judgmental with yourself, you're harsh with yourself, and you find flaws in yourself, then you're gonna do that with your partner, because your partner is a mirror. So like whatever you are seeing wrong with them is normally because that's something that you wouldn't be okay with yourself. So that's why self-love is important, because if you don't love yourself, you are directly attacking them for something you don't love about yourself. Or you wouldn't accept that you would do for yourself. Like me being a workaholic and having a significant other that I find is not helping or contributing. Nobody can put out the amount of energy that I was putting out. But I would be severely upset if they were just playing video games instead of helping clean the house. And that might, but it's bigger than that, right? Because it's not just, it's a build-up as well. Like emotions are all built up and like 7 layers deep and all of that, right? But I'm gonna have more of a like switch or a trigger, because that's not something I would allow myself to do. I don't allow myself rest. So if someone else is resting and my partner's resting and I don't allow myself rest, I'm going to attack them for resting. Which, is that something that we should be doing? Should we be attacking someone we love for resting? The answer is no. We should also allow ourselves rest, but if we don't allow ourselves that, we're not going to allow our partners to have that. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I'm gonna keep reading. I used to say this to people, but I never realized I wasn't living by it, not even in the least. I would go on whole rants about how a true loving relationship is two people standing tall, walking side by side on two different paths, but holding each other's hands and sharing their lives together as an enrichment and addition to their own. With their path being their own dreams, passions, and driving forces, connected by direction and the love they hold for one another. They would be together in a way to avoid pressuring or hindering growth to one another in any way, which hindering would be illustrated by one or the other leaning or relying on the other to hold the other up. So we can't expect other people to make us happy. They can't expect us to make them happy. If they are not happy, they're unhappy. So that's the issue with that. So we are the only ones that can change how we feel, because there are emotions. If someone is constantly, though, making you feel unhappy, then this is what I would call a toxic relationship. This is an unhealthy relationship. And I don't think that there are necessarily, these are bad people, but they're just bad for each other. Because if something is constantly happening, like I have a partner that is constantly on the couch, constantly resting, I don't feel like they're putting in enough work. It's not that that person's a bad person, it's just that they're not a good match for me. I need to find somebody that has that same like drive and energy. And I can't force that person to have more drive and energy. I can't do that. I can't nag them to do it. It's just they're not a good fit. Oh my, I ran into that rut. Oh no. Yeah. Yes, it was okay to assist one or the other if they began to temporarily lean, but as a solid standing person, we would be able to assist from our paths and help right them back to standing. So it's okay if they temporarily are leaning on us, because that's part of struggle and strife, and that we're there together in love, and we're gonna help each other, pull each other from these like negative like downs. But if it happens that this person is always leaning on us, then it starts to wear us down and it knocks us off our path. And then before you know it, you're in a pit with somebody. They're in a pit, you crawled into the pit with them, and then you don't get back out. You're stuck in a pit. We are a power couple, but I fell and didn't see it for 10 years. But you see it now, right? And you're working on it. So, yeah, keep going. At least you see it now. A true loving relationship has two people that were strong alone, but chose to share their life with one another. So it's about being strong and capable by yourself, but choosing to be with somebody. And in doing so, we're stronger together. So being strong separate and then being strong together. So, yeah. And like I said, the temporary leans, if a partner's willing to be with us while we're going through these leans, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, it matters. And I mean, that's why I say you gotta follow your heart. And they have to follow theirs. Because if they're done and they leave, then we have to accept that too. Because sometimes a temporary lean is a lot longer than somebody can handle, because they don't have the energy to stand up for themselves, and that comes with a very solid standing person. And we see codependency where two people are leaning on each other, and that's difficult too, because if one walks away, this person completely falls over. And that's why it's important to have two self-loving, stand-alone, strong people. He doesn't get my philosophy, but we are true opposites that mesh. Nice, like kind of like a yin and yang. How the leaning happens is important. There's difference between being caught when we fall versus belly flopping onto the person we are expected to catch us. Yeah, we can't expect them to catch us, exactly. And that's why communication is really important too, like being able to tell them, hey, I'm currently struggling, and them being able to know that, okay, what we're going through. And that's why, like, they say, like, having a very communicative, like, type relationship where you can share even your deepest, darkest emotions, like, this is what I'm going through, and letting them in allows them to help you. And if you don't have that kind of trust in your relationship, it's hard to develop that if you lost trust. But it's never too late to try to start being communicative, like starting talking to them. I ended up like that, belly flop, yeah. And all you can do is start communicating and try to rebuild that foundation of trust. Okay, so let me see. The relationship I had been in, my last marriage, had been far from it. During the time of my over-explanation on the topic, I had been in this toxic marriage for years, and I'd felt trapped in it, but had convinced myself that it was healthy and supportive when it had not been. We had both been leaning on each other very heavily on a single constructed path of compromise, forged to keep us heading the same direction on equal unhappiness. So basically, what I mean by that is, like, I say it's two paths, like people standing on two paths, because you're going to have your own dreams, your own ambitions. This person's going to have their own dreams and ambitions. But what happens with a marriage a lot of times is we shove each other on the same path, and then we're constantly headbutting each other, trying to keep each other on the same path, resenting them if someone's like, well, I want to do this. No, I resent you for trying to do that. And it's a bunch of compromise. Like, I don't want you doing this because I don't get to do it. And I don't want you to do this because I don't get to do this. And it's a path of compromise where you're just shoved into a single path. And that's not healthy either. Equal unhappiness is what it results in. In doing so, we held each other back. And it stifled each other's individual growth. So we no longer were growing individually. I wasn't developing self-love. He wasn't developing self-love either. And we were just worried about the path we were on. We were just basically stagnated in the daily grind of things. Ours is finally being repaired slowly, the trust, yeah. We started with morning devotional time and meditation. Oh, that's beautiful. Keep doing that. No, and yeah, especially if you guys are sharing that kind of thing, and then you're able to start, like, really talking about emotions and how you're feeling, because meditating helps you understand what you are feeling, because a lot of people, they don't know what they're feeling. That's why I have to meditate. I don't know what I'm feeling. I have to think about it. I have to give myself that time to think about it. If we fall away from paying attention to our leading partner to provide care for ourselves, then our partner would fall. So basically, being on the same path with somebody's leading, and you always feel like you're dragging someone, like you're dragging this person. And you could switch places with who's leading and who's not. But usually it's one partner that's pulling someone on this path, and this person feels resentful because they're not choosing the path, they're letting someone else lead their life. Which can feel a lot of resentment and harm about that as well. So there was little room for growth individually, and there was no deviating from the path. If we attempted to alter the path, we would be met with pushback from another partner, yet neither of us had made the path, but also both of us did. So basically, we were both unhappy with the direction in which we were going, but we couldn't communicate well enough, because now we're forced on this path of compromise, because I'm losing the things that make me happy, he's losing the things that is making him happy, and we're both compromising ourselves. So now we're both on a path to where? Where are we going? If we're not loving ourselves, we're not loving, and eventually we're not loving each other either. We're just resenting each other. We're in a relationship of resentment, continuing on a straight path of just learning to hate each other. And I think that's why a lot of when we say marriage is compromise, we don't realize that compromise is compromising ourselves, compromising what we would accept and what we wouldn't. It's a big ugh. I was resentful, even though that's the way I am wanting to go. Yeah, exactly. You're resentful of the path. It's truly like we were newlyweds 20 years later, our children are gone. Well, yeah, you got to rediscover each other. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you guys were able to. A lot of people, after their children leave, they can't discover each other. They end up moving on and ending the relationship. So the path was made of compromise and loss of dreams. The path was resentment. I had been blinded by my own pains, and I wasn't being honest with myself about why I was unhappy. I felt my relationship at the time was lacking support, and often we would be dragging one another through life, all the while lecturing them the whole time. I was oblivious to the toxic relationship that I was in, as I was too compromising myself and my own beliefs. I compromised and demanded that he do the same, as payment for the times I did. Yes, I did. Yes, it had been the best relationship I had had to date, but I didn't love myself, nor did he love himself either. So this is talking about that, like, we were so willing to compromise ourselves for the other person that there was just a loss of self. Like, we were just... I know that when people say, like, just feeling like you're living with a roommate, like, this is supposed to be a romantic partner, and you're feeling like they're a roommate instead, like, this is where this comes from, is there's just this, you're shoved on this path of compromise, and neither of you are able to be on your own paths, and that's why it's important to, like, follow your passions, follow your dreams, support your partner's dreams, so they should be supportive of yours. And this is all in the name of self-growth, and if they're able to support you in your self-growth, and you're able to support them in their self-growth and love, then the relationship will continue to grow. But we don't tend to fall in love with the person that they could be in the future. We tend to fall in love with the person that we met. And we're like, hey, you're not the person I met. Well, no, people change, and they will continue to change. And when we try to shove them on these paths, we lose that person that we met, because they do change in a negative way. But if we allow them on their path to pursue their passions and their dreams, they're going to grow in a positive way, and we're going to grow this way. And even if we decide to go different ways, even if we decide to part ways, we're still going to be friends, and we're going to still love each other, even if we're not supposed to be in each other's lives anymore, because we have been in a relationship that didn't result in compromise and regret and resentment and all of these things. If we're able to, like, we'll split it off in a reasonable manner, and it will still end with a bit of, you know, like you hear about those relationships where they end and a friendship's still there. Like, those kinds of things, like, they're a rarity, and they're a rarity for a reason, because a lot of people, they think it's about compromise. It's funny that room and romantic share the same root. Room and romantic, yeah. That is interesting. I still think you should make some of these about the root words and where they come from. Let's see. We were cruising through life holding resentment for each other's actions and for the actions we did, and we resented ourselves for the fights we felt we should have fought harder for. We had fallen to the typical routine of being a husband and wife, listening to the advice from the talk shows and entertainment that said love is compromise. Yeah, I just said that. So we just thought this is what marriage looks like. You know, woman's gonna nag at you, guy's not gonna listen. I would talk at him, and it would be like, you talk too much, and we would just think that this is the relationship of marriage, and it just doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. But this is what culture and entertainment teaches us, is, you know, that these toxic relationships are love, and they're just not love. They're compromise, and compromise is not love. And when I say compromise, I don't mean like when somebody's talking to you, compromising and listening to them instead of doing something else. Like that is not the type of compromise I'm talking about. I'm talking about the compromise that, like, you let go of doing a dream or doing something that fulfills you or recharges you, and not doing that because it makes your partner tell you can't. Like, they say, I don't like that you do that, and it's something that you enjoy, something that recharges you, something that, like, is a passion, is a love, is a dream, and they say, stop it. And we do it all the time, accidentally. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the next part, which is the twin flame part, guys. But my relationship with my twin flame taught me that love is unconditional, and unconditional love does not require you to change or compromise parts of yourself. It teaches you to love the person they are now, and to also love the person they might be, to see each other's lives as a journey in growth and development, to honor each other's decisions, even if that means you will be on two different paths, just holding each other's hand and supporting each other's growth to be the best them possible. It doesn't mean that you can't voice your concern with their path or share your emotions. In fact, you should always be open to talking about all of your thoughts, no matter how small you think they are. It's about being there for each other as we ebb and flow, and just loving each other through all of it. So having that path, well, sometimes they're over here and you're like, okay, well, I really don't like that you're going over there, but I respect and I love you. So that might mean that there's times that you're apart, or, you know, they're going to go on trips, and, you know, they're pursuing their dreams, but, you know, but you're going to come back together because they are different, you know, separate paths, but together. And they might choose paths that, like, align with yours, so you can go with them. But, like, a twin flame is really there to help and support your growth, self-love, and not all twin flames are romantic partners. It really matters, like, where you are in your life, but mainly they're supposed to be there to help develop the better version of you, so when they come into your life. So like I said, not all of them are romantic. Compromise is the ultimate, which is why it's ultimatum, which is why it's doomed to fail. A co-promise. See, root words, there you go. It's usually in the word, is what I'm learning. Yeah, so a co-promise is an ultimatum. If you don't do this, then we don't work as a relationship. Okay, so I'm gonna continue reading here. I keep losing my place. Sadly, I was blind to most of what other love could be in the beginning, as when I first met my twin flame, I was still on the mindset of not loving myself. I am still a work in progress, and honestly, I would think it's an ever-growing and changing thing, as you have to fall in love with the new you as the new you emerges. So this part right here is really difficult because you're constantly having to fall in love with the new you. And when I say that, like, when you go through your trauma work, when you go through your shadow work, when you go through all of these things that are buried, the repressed parts of you, new versions of you come up, And right now I just went through a huge ego death. I kind of talked about it a little bit in my VODs, but not much. I need to make a VOD about the end of the ego death and how that felt, and coming emerged through the other side, transformed. Because ego death is just a transformation, it's not a death. And I know that, like, that's just the wrong word, I think. But when you come in on the other side of it, you come out a new person, and you have to relearn your perspectives, your core values, the person that you are through that. Because an ego death is a death of a perspective, so it's a transformation of a perspective. So I was walking through life with a certain perspective, and I don't have that one anymore. And it was a rough process, but now I'm currently going through that, like, getting to know the emerged me. But yeah, I'm gonna continue. When he first came into my life, I hated myself, and I caught myself judging him harshly for things that I judged myself for. I felt he was an extension of myself, and in hating myself, my actions and statements sometimes reflected those feelings for myself. Looking back, it pains me to see what I have been doing in both my previous relationships and now coming into the relationship I'm having with my twin flame. So the thing, like, people are like, when is my twin flame coming? And they keep asking, and I'm like, start loving yourself. Don't worry about your twin flame, because I needed to meet my twin flame when I met my twin flame. Like, I think that I was probably in the best amount of self-love I had been in. I didn't meet my twin flame until, midlife? But had I met him earlier, I don't think that I would have the level of self-growth that I've had. I think that a lot of where I've gone and the direction I've gone and all of the good things that have come from this is because he came later in my life. And it could be he, it could be she. Souls do not have gender. So your twin flame can also be a female, if you're a female. Like I said, not all twin flames are romantic, and sometimes they have an age gap. So it's individually different. Okay, so let's see. As I learned to love myself more, I learned to love him more, down to the blemishes on his cheek, thinking it held its own beauty, to seeing one on my love's face and wishing I could kiss it. I had never wanted to kiss a pimple before, but I wanted as a reminder of our existence, and our existence is beautiful. That pimple won't be on his face next week, so it was a temporary imperfection. And as I learned to love my imperfections, I learned to love his. I noticed the things I still hated about myself, I still judged on him. It had never been so clear that level of love I was, it was a direct reflection of the love that I held for myself. Standards that are unfair that I hold on myself, I hold on him. Like I said earlier, the rest thing, not allowing my partner to rest because I don't allow myself to rest. But like I said, if I have a partner that their main thing is they really like to rest, then they're just not a good fit for my energy. I'd never before been pulled so close to the surface before and made so clear. So yeah, so anything that you judge yourself for harshly or you don't allow yourself, you're going to attack your partner for that. In hindsight, I realized I wasn't loving even my own children to the degree that I felt they deserved. I wasn't a bad mother, but my lack of love for myself was teaching them to dismiss parts of themselves, and they didn't care for themselves either. So this was a hard realization for me. I was a very dedicated mom to the point where I was self-sacrificing, and I wasn't combing my own hair, I wasn't brushing my own teeth. I was so just worried about their care that I wasn't giving myself any care. And what my kids were learning is that they weren't caring for themselves because they're a direct reflection of where I am. And yeah, so like I'm not giving them what they need by not loving myself. I'm not showing them to love themselves, which is, it was a hard reality. I would see this in the ways that they refused to comb their own hair, brush their teeth, or how my oldest had a difficult time holding her own gaze in a mirror. That one was really hard. I was trying to get my daughter to look at herself in the mirror, and she kept crying and she didn't want to hold her own gaze. And that was self-hate. She thought she was ugly, she didn't want to look at herself, yeah. Do you guys still want to talk about this, or should we move on to something else in spirituality? I know that it seems weird that during spirituality talk we're talking about self-love, but self-love is so freaking important, guys. It's boundaries. It keeps things from hurting you on the material realm as well as the spiritual realm. Self-love is one of the most, I would say, one of the strongest energies. Love is the strongest energy, so when you have love for yourself, it protects you. And you can have other people protect you, but if you don't love yourself, the barriers that people make around you because they love you will be able to be penetrated because you don't love yourself. You make holes in their barriers and they can hurt you. But that goes for material world and the world of energy. If you don't love yourself, things can harm you. I'm enjoying your book. Oh, I'm glad you're liking it. But yeah, I can keep reading this or we can talk about something else. It's up to you guys. But you do you. Thanks for your time. It's time for me to go to bed. I'll be working hard to gain more self-love. Yay! Well, I hope to see you around, Penny. Oh, thank you for the follow. You can do this. I believe in you. Okay. Well, the people that are still here, do you guys want me to keep reading from the book, or do you want me... This is a book that I'm writing. I can either keep reading it, or we can... Thanks for all the encouragement. Sometimes we just need to hear what we already know. I normally would have pulled a rune, but I could just feel it. You're doing good. I'm enjoying the reading of the book. Oh, you are? Okay. Alright, well, I'll keep reading then if you guys are liking it. That's 2 out of the 5 people here that said keep reading, so we'll do that. So this is about my children still. They were learning from me the bad habits I was doing to myself, and they were putting the needs of others first as they watched me do this as a fault. So at a fault. To a fault. So always being self-sacrificing teaches our children to also be self-sacrificing. Something that I saw a lot in my home, my childhood home growing up, was seeing my mother become a completely different person when my stepdad was around. She completely changed her demeanor, completely self-sacrificed to the point where nothing else existed outside of him. So unfortunately, I know that I also developed a lot of the same codependency tendencies, and that was really hard for me to come into terms with. But yeah, our children learn from what we are doing. Okay, so I'm gonna keep reading, so that's why I said, not loving yourself is, does harm beyond just you. My insecurities had started to breed insecurities in them, and once I started to care about me, I saw them slowly start to care for themselves. So when I started combing my hair in the morning, they started combing their hair. When I started brushing my teeth, they brushed their teeth. When I make my bed every morning, I watch them want to be, like, I see them want to clean their room. I see them want to make their bed because my room's clean. Hi, Space Viking! Doing good. We're talking about spiritual stuff, and I'm reading from my mediumship book, and it's the chapter on self-love. So, talking about the importance in self-love. And I know I'm like, guys, this is a mediumship book, but it's self-love is one of the most powerful things to protect you in the material realm as well as the spiritual realm, so self-love, it needs to happen. So welcome in. You can only love someone as deeply as you love yourself. The more I grow in self-love, the more I let people in. The more patience I have, the more empathy I carry, the more compassion I hold, the more I'm excited to meet a new person, and the more I let those I already know closer to me. So one of the things I noticed when I started loving myself is I started loving the people and community that were around me that had always been there and had always been supportive, and the gratitude and appreciation started becoming vast, and then became unconditional love for the people that have just been supportive for years. And I think it was like, wasn't it just like 3 years ago? I had a conversation about not believing in unconditional love. I mean, it's so vastly different from where I was 3 years ago. I had my major spiritual awakening about 3 years ago, and it definitely changed everything. Self-love is my focus this year. Yay, well, look at you. The universe brought you here. We're talking about self-love. If you guys are coming in and you haven't heard the beginning of it, I am going to post this on YouTube. Yeah. So if you feel like you want to hear more of it after this live, like, it's going to be on YouTube. In self-love, I am not just a better medium, I am a better mother, companion, co-worker, community member, and friend. No longer am I afraid to lose the ones I love to a degree that I refuse to let them get closer. I'm losing fear. I'm able to love more unconditionally, and for the first time in my life, I feel free to express that love and to expect nothing in return. That's what unconditional love is, guys. It's not expecting anything in return. And I didn't know that, because there had been, in all of the love that I experienced previously, there was always strings attached. So I was doing the same thing. But in learning unconditional love and self-love, I completely changed in perspective. I am now driven to be present with the ones I love as much as possible during the times that we share, knowing change is always around the corner, but not necessarily loss. So not being afraid of losing those relationships and being present, which is funny because when you're present in your relationship and you're trying to give them the time that they deserve, it's less likely that it's going to end in loss. Even if somebody ultimately passes away or something like that, like, we're all connected through love. I know that sounds strange, but here's my medium perspective as a medium. So the times that we spend with our loved ones, being present with them and giving them the time that they deserve, is really important. It's really important. We will always be connected in the love that we have for one another. And like I was saying earlier when we were talking about relationships being two parallel paths of like self-growth and self-love, being on two different individual paths, if you're supportive of that person's path while you're together but you grow apart because, say, like, you just go on two different paths and you can't follow each other, that love still remains. You can be friends, you still have a loving relationship with that person. It might just change from a romantic love to a friend's love, but you never lose that love. And that comes in with, like, you know, giving people your presence, time, and support. Okay. I lost my place because I took my hand to talk with my hands, because that's what I do. I've lost sight of that in the last month. Oh no! Hey, but remember, we ebb and we flow. So don't be hard on yourself for the times that you feel like you've fallen down. Because it's all about self-love, so you need to accept that you had an ebb and say it's okay, forgive yourself, and then pick yourself back up. Otherwise, we'll never get out of it. Like, if you're being mean to yourself and you're putting yourself down for tripping, then you're never going to get back up. You tripped and you fell and you're going to lay on the ground and you're going to be upset about that trip, but you should get up and forgive yourself for the trip so you can walk again. But anyway, analogies. We will always be connected in the love that we have for one another, even as time might pull us away and our paths might no longer align. Should have just kept reading the book, huh? It was right there. Love is a thread that connects, and love never stops. Not through time, not through loss, not through change. Love is one of those things that is always there. It remains inside, and yes, we might pick up other forms of love and other emotions that seem to crush the love that we hold, or due to a time we might not be able to express the love we still hold for one another. But once you remove the traumas and landmines underneath, you still love this person as much as you loved them in the past. So basically, once you love somebody a certain amount, like, it's not going to just go away. It's just buried under other things that we might already feel, but it's still there. And once we work through those traumas, and we work through forgiveness and stuff like that love is still there. We just can't be with that person. It would be irresponsible to go back to somebody that's caused so much trauma and pain. But it's still there. Once you start caring about someone, there will always be a part of you that will care. Well, dang, what do you mean? In all of this, it is easier for me to love all those around me, to see the beauty in their existence, and to respect their own journeys. Without the depths of love, mediumship is impossible, and is another reason why self-love is so important. So one of the things I should probably add to this is, guys, that we're all on our own individual journeys, and we're at different phases in our journeys. When, an easy metaphor for this is artwork. When people have a certain skill level, we're all at different skill levels, right? Some people are in the sketch modes and learning to break down circles. Others are in the realism, and they can do these amazing portraits. We're all over the place. And we need to respect every level of growth. So we need to respect other people's journeys, and we can't necessarily force them to come with us. If they are unwilling to change, if they're unwilling to grow, we can't say, you have to, and force them. We just have to know that we have to walk away at a certain point if they're hindering us from our growth. Is this all on point? The woman I've been seeing has been distant lately, and my brain has been generating abstractions. Well, and the thing, all that you can do is communicate, ask her if she's been distanced for a reason, and if she's not able, if you don't feel able to communicate your emotions, all of them, good or bad, then this isn't a trusting relationship, and without trust, it's near to impossible to continue without trust. Okay, so the next chapter is avoid stagnation. Do you guys want me to read this next one, or should we stop here? Because the subchapter we just read on self-love, it's the second subchapter that I jumped into, and it says you can only love yourself as deeply as you love yourself. Love others. You can only love someone as deeply as you love yourself. I can read. I can read my own writing. But I just read that sub one. The next one is avoid stagnation. And that's a oh my gosh. A lot of people, like I said, when we think of relationships, we think it's compromise. We shove each other on the same path. We don't let each other be on their own individual paths of growth. We shove each other on that, and then we have regret, compromise, and we resent each other. So part of a lot of relationships and relationships with ourselves result in stagnation because of the amount of compromise that we have allowed. just very little stagnation. Folks have a habit of not appreciating someone at different stages of growth, right? Well, and it's hard too if you're trying to grow and somebody is keeping your growth down. Like, I do understand respecting theirs, but like if you're in a romantic relationship, or if you're in a relationship that you're constantly around this person, their slow growth can slow you down. So ultimately, it's not that you're bad people or you're just toxic for each other. You're not working. Since you're trying to grow and this person wants to grow slower, I mean, eventually, you know, the distance is going to increase. There's going to be an increase in distance. Not everyone is able to find a seed as beautiful as a flower in bloom. Right, but we have to respect and love that seed because it'll be just as beautiful as the flower. And that flower, when it wilts, it's going to be dropping like so many seeds. So like every phase is beautiful. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. I do feel the universe brought me here tonight. I keep saying every time I start these streams, like, I know that the people that are right for learning the stuff that I need to learn and the things that I need to put out there, that the right people will come in. So I'm glad that you think so. That emotion behind the stagnation is the best way to describe how I feel. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read the next one, the next chapter about stagnation then, because it sounds like you guys are kind of interested, maybe? Okay, so it's called Avoid Stagnation. Self-love is an ever-growing process. It's like being in a loving relationship with another person. You don't stop trying to know them simply because you're already with them. So I was talking about that earlier with the last chapter, that we fall in love with somebody in the beginning and then we want them to stay that person, but that's not what happens. If we're forcing and compromise, then that person's going to change in a negative way. And if we're supporting in passions and growth and love and stuff like that, we might grow like this, but we also might grow like this. So that's why some people will come in and out of your life and some other people will fight until they break apart. And I guess that's why we call it a breakup, right? Anyway, it's ridiculous. Stop talking, dead. Let's see. I'm trying to find my spot again. You have to work at that every day if you want to maintain a happy and healthy relationship. So you always need to learn yourself. Like I said, I just went through a huge major ego death, came through transformation. I'm having to get to know my new perspectives, getting to know myself, so then that way I can love the self that I am now. And that's the same thing with the person that you're with. You're going to constantly be analyzing, getting to know them, because you know what? Guess what? Their favorite color is going to change. And that's simple. You know, my favorite color changes. And, you know, how often do we ask that of somebody? We just assume that their favorite color is always going to be purple. It's not always going to be purple. You know, because it changes with the moods and what we're currently going through. If we're going through a depression, we might like black more. I don't know. I'm just putting things out there. But what I'm saying is that we are constantly changing as people in here, but we don't get to know ourselves, so we don't get to know the people around us. Because, like, we should know that the favorite colors change. And maybe yours doesn't. Maybe it's always this color, but that doesn't mean that other people don't change theirs. Ask simply, like, what's your favorite color? Yeah, you might know it, but, like, it might change. Check in with each other, get to know each other, make it a routine to, like, check in. You often have to check in with yourself to make sure your needs are being met, that your emotions are being addressed, and that you're allowing yourself to recover in the ways that your body, mind, and spirit need. So something that I don't yet have in this chapter, and it'll probably be a really good spot for this, so I'm gonna hit the edit mode, and I'm gonna put recharge in here as notes to myself. So I'm going to add this into this chapter. So I'm going to talk about it since it's not in here. Something that I just learned was that my definition of rest, I thought it was, like, because I was like, oh, I need to rest. So, like, I just kind of laid around, didn't do anything, and it was causing anxiety, it was causing stress, because, you know, me being a workaholic, me somebody that has to keep going all the time, trying to allow myself to rest was foreign. But what I didn't understand was that I wasn't resting. I was doing the cultural expectation of rest. My rest and recharge is different. I like doing yoga, but I don't do just yoga. I like doing yoga with others. I take a really hot shower. That's part of it. Like, and finding out what these things do that help me feel recharged. Drawing sessions, you know, things like that. And sometimes I don't feel restful when I do that. Sometimes it causes more. So, like, those are constantly changing. What recharges us is constantly changing. And it's the same with your partner. So getting to know what they want, getting to know what, you know, recharges them, and it's an always changing process. Okay. So in order to be the best possible you have to be ready to embrace change and go wherever your heart leads you. Change is scary for most, and I am quite honestly no exception. I am terrified of change, guys, but I keep forcing myself to do it, and bravery is not the lack of fear, it is being afraid and doing it anyway. Just thought I'd add that. Don't know why I felt like that, but I needed to. Because it's not... Yeah, you can be afraid of change, and you're brave if you continue to do it. Before my second spiritual awakening, I had become agoraphobic, afraid of leaving the house, and unable to do most things that required my inner strength other than streaming on Twitch. Twitch was a doorway back to me, but I plan to mention this later on in the book. I didn't even recognize the me that I had been stricken down with debilitating depression and an inability to feel like I had any control over my life or emotional state. Having become fully codependent on my current husband to the point I lost myself and became someone I was ashamed to look back on. So, yeah, so basically I'm going into the fact that I was very stagnated. This is a void stagnation, but I'm talking about, like, what the stagnation felt like and how I was able to step out of it. And it's those baby steps, guys. Like, I was taking myself out of the comfort zone, putting myself up on Twitch, and putting myself out there to the world, and streaming. And it's gonna look different for everybody. Some people are gonna find that if they start hiking in the woods and, you know, forcing yourself out of your comfort zone, whatever that comfort zone is, forcing yourself out of that. Twitch was an easy avenue for me because being agoraphobic, like, I was still afraid of social things. I had social anxiety, and maybe I should add that stuff in here for sure, but it was an easy way to step outside of my house without leaving. So it was a slide sideways to start pushing myself out of my agoraphobia and my social anxiety. Resting is restoration. It's the literal antonym of stagnation. Oh, really? Rivers that stop moving because of mud become mud. You know, that's interesting. So I guess recharge does belong in here, huh? But let's see. After my awakening, I pushed myself out of every comfort zone I could find, and I was free. It was freeing, liberating, and, well, very scary. I went from not being able to drive at all without severe anxiety to a 3-day drive across the country to see my family member, a grandfather who was getting ready to pass, as it was his time to make that journey. So I definitely need to refine this chapter as I'm reading it. It's not as in-depth as I would like it, because I feel like it's lacking the emotions of what this took. It took a lot out of me to be able to do this. It wasn't just like, oh, I just went on a 3-day drive. No, I was terrified. I was having panic attacks. I mean, it was difficult, but I put myself behind that wheel and I did it, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and then all of a sudden I was less afraid. And some of the things was like I accidentally booked a motel instead of a hotel, and I was terrified somebody was gonna come in my door and had to like push the dresser up against the damn door. I mean, like, I was still in fear, but I was still pushing myself to do it. It took me a century to learn that lesson. The resting is restoration, and literally antonym for stagnation. That one? Okay, so let's see. If you are feeling stuck, you have to ask yourself if it is your own thoughts that keep you there, or if it is truly out of your control. In most cases, it is more of your own thoughts and emotions that keep us in any given situation. And I know that, like, certain things, like when I talk about compromise and toxicity, like having people like support in the wrong ways also makes a difference, because if somebody's supporting your fears and making them worse, maybe entirely unintentionally, but if they're feeding those, it's still your thoughts. You still have to overcome your thoughts, even though that you have buried yourself and somebody helped bury you. The dirt is still on you. Like, and I talk about victimization and stuff like that later on, but like the thing is, like, it's not that person's responsibility to dig you out. Does that make sense? I don't want to leave right now, the song. Today, when others ask me what my biggest fear is, I am sure they figure it is something otherworldly or unimaginable, but instead, I inform them I fear stagnation. So many people in my life stopped growing and chose to remain the same, being unmoved, unchallenged in their beliefs, built walls and made excuses to why things had to remain as they are. They avoided exploring the world around them, got lost in them. They were to avoid change from coming near them. This kind of person gets stuck in a mindset and very rarely steps outside of a comfort zone. They give up freedoms in order to just get by, and in doing so, they forget they have control over their own lives. Which brings me to the main reason most people stagnate: victimization. So the next one is victimization, and I guess that's what I was talking about. Like, if someone put the dirt on you, like, it's still your responsibility to dig yourself out. Victimization mindset is the next part. I don't know that we need to read this. I do want to talk more spiritual stuff. Like, if people are interested in that, I can do some readings. But yeah, so, like I said, here for questions. I don't know, when I started upstream, I was just gonna let the questions kind of go, but my fear of silence gets me to start reading this book, but it seems like it seemed to help people, so that's not entirely bad. You'd be interested in a reading? Okay, so it would be a yes or no question, and it's a rune, but I do have to tap into your energy, so you have to give me permission to do that. I only tap in onto the level to read your intention and your emotion, but it is a... where does your spiritual energy come from? Where does my spiritual energy come from? From my higher self? And all of that energy comes from what people would call source, but I don't know much about that, other than we all I believe we all originated from one energy and split into many, and I also believe that we have the material realm and we have the spiritual realm, but we also have the dream realm, and the dream realm's kind of in between the spiritual realm and the material realm. But I don't know. I think that like that knowledge as far as like where the energy originated is so complex that I don't think we'll ever be able to grasp it. I didn't mean for it to be that big of a question. No, you're fine. I guess nobody had asked me that before. Like, I mean, but that's why I'm kind of excited about these, like, I'm talking spiritual stuff, like, what, like, ask me questions, and I'm like, and as you have permission, I'm formatting intention. You gotta shift through some things. No, don't make me shift through things, just give me permission, silly. Okay, so think of a question. I'm moving some stuff because I want to put my arms on this desk and I keep putting it on top of my watercolors and it's driving me crazy. See, it was watercolor painting and I keep putting my arms on top of my watercolor paints and that's not fun. I believe our spiritual energy is related to karma. Yeah, where our energy comes from. Like what we tap into. I mean, it's something that I'm definitely gonna walk away thinking about more. Because there's a balance and a fight between dark and light. But the question is, where did that originate? Where did that original... I don't know. Okay, so, Space Viking, if you want to put your question in the chat, you can. If you feel like it's too personal of a question, you can just think about it, but you did give me permission to tap into your energy. I haven't done it yet, but I just wanted to let you know, like, to start thinking of a question before I start tapping in. Karma means action. We are the life that happens for us. Got my runes here with the Tree of Life on there. Space Viking, if you... I think we lost you for a second. The last comment I see of yours is OIC. So if you type something else, we didn't see it. I guess my question that's in my mind heavily is, am I living my purpose? My intuition is strongly saying that purpose is choice. So if you're living your choice, then yes. But I want you to try to think of what exactly you want to ask when you're asking that, because it's very generalized, because, like I said, purpose is choice. It's the path in which we choose to live. So that is the purpose. That is our purpose. If we choose to live the life that we feel the universe is laying before us as purpose, then that too is a choice. So I guess that's what I mean. I guess make it less general if you can. I'm gonna tap into your energy, actually. While I wait, and then I can know if where you're going with your question. am tapped into your energy. Yeah, there are so many questions to go with that. Tapping in is a good bet. And maybe I can start with what I'm feeling here. And I'm just following my heart with this, Space Viking. You do not have to, and I like to say this, you do not have to say this resonates. You do not have to tell me it's right. You don't have to tell me it's wrong. You don't have to tell me you disagree. You do not have to give me any of that. Starting full-time tomorrow, so certainly with my SO, with your SO. Because the thing I'm feeling, even before you said that, is I'm feeling that there's a fear to move forward, but there's a fear to stay. And when we talk about change, like, I feel like that's what this feeling is that, like, even before you had said that, like, so you said starting full-time tomorrow. Is that a job that you're starting? You want to make sure the job is right? You know, honestly, the intention I'm feeling behind your emotions and the intention is that I just need to pull a rune, and there isn't really necessarily a yes or no question. It's just, it's an emotion that can't be put into words. So let's try to redeem this by pulling a rune for you, and let's see what it says. Moving to full-time. Is that okay? Can I just pull a rune for you? Because I feel like it's not necessarily a question you can formulate in words, and because I can feel it emotionally, and I can feel that it's kind of, it's too vast for a single question. It's like several things. It's not just one thing, it's several things. Will cause less time with my significant other, worried that will move us further apart. Yes, a rune? Okay. Okay, I got 2 runes for you. Okay, so the first rune that I have here is the Esau, which is stay present. So we were just talking about how we need to be present with our partners, that we need to be present with the ones that we love. We need to be present with ourselves, and that means that to take in those moments, every moment. And when we, yeah, so just, I don't think that when we start taking time into doing a full-time job, that necessarily it's going to take your partner's time if you're giving them quality time and being present with them. The second one is the Esau, or Iwas, which is movement. So being present but moving forward. So I know that sounds confusing because this is almost like stillness, and then this one is moving. So this is exactly the emotions that are going through you right now. You're afraid to stay, but you're afraid to change. Like, and that's exactly what that I'm feeling from you, and that's what the runes are exactly showing, is that they're saying, okay, stay, be present, but move forward. And this is where the conflict is, because you're asking if this is your purpose, like if you're on your purpose, but like the runes are saying Not necessarily yes and not necessarily no, but this is where you're at. I'm gonna pull one more rune. It seems that I'm gonna try to formulate it into words for you, but before I pull the rune, I'm gonna make sure that it's okay. It wasn't confusing at all. I haven't been present. I haven't allowed emotional space. I'm gonna pull one more rune for you, though. I'm afraid to move forward, be present. So it's not stillness, it's just being present. It's avoiding stagnation while trying to be present. Yeah. For movement. You want to know if you are on your path and purpose. Do you mean like your spiritual path, like the one that like is the best version of you? Is that what you're asking? Are you on the path of the best version of you? I've got the stone. If that's an appropriate question, I'll flip it. Yes, that's an appropriate question. Okay. You're not gonna like this. Unknown. You are at a crossroads of choice. And I actually didn't know that this was gonna be the stone I was pulling out. But I knew this was yours. So, you are at a crossroads of choice. So, again, be still, but move. You're indecisive, so your purpose is also undecided. Because we have choice. And if you are not in a position where you feel like you're able to make the choices, then that is undetermined. Until you make those choices. I'm also heavy into science, so I love when the answer is no. Well, I'm gonna disconnect from your energy. Thank you for letting me into your energy space. So I'm just trying to see. Alright, disconnecting. Okay. So I'm just having a little trouble disconnecting. I also feel like you have a little bit of spiritual side, so if you can try to disconnect on your side as well. And I don't mean like, this is a bridge and all we're doing is stepping away from the bridge. We're no longer sending energy over the bridge. So if you could imagine just like if hands are connected like this. If you could just imagine that for me, Space Viking. There we go. I also believe that you're going through a little bit of a spiritual awakening yourself. And that's beautiful, and I hope that you keep pursuing that. And like I said, just as I was reading here, just self-love, self-growth is the most important. And we can't lose that in a partner. You appreciate it? Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad it resonated for you. I always like worry when it pulls out the unknown stone. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm not giving you an answer, that's what you're getting. I always worry about that. But I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if there's any more yes or no's to tie this up, and then I'll do a collective. I wish you a fulfilling experience with your next step. Yes. No, that's great, because it also shone a light on my overthinking. Yeah, it's hard to be on the right path when we're so clouded with the thoughts and not following our heart. And something my guides like to tell me is to follow your heart always, because something that I'm learning is that even through following your heart, it'll take you through darker paths, but those are lessons we needed to learn. So if we think that our heart is wrong, it never actually is wrong, because those were lessons we needed to learn along the way to be the best possible version of us. Because if we're using our head, we would logic that away and say, no, not doing that, no, absolutely no. But in logicking it away, we don't become the best versions of us, because our heart will lead the way to the best path. So that's why I tell everyone self-love is the biggest and most important thing, because if you don't love yourself, your heart is going to drag you through some bullshit until you figure it out. Until you learn to love yourself, it will drag you through a bunch of relationships that will just diminish your self-worth. And that's why you have to work on the love for yourself, so your heart stops trying to teach you that lesson. Stop bringing these people in your life. It's been a workout more and saying yes to more things and people. Nice. Just remember, don't compromise yourself. Don't sacrifice. Yeah. Also be aware of the energy and where you're putting it and who you're sharing your energy with. Alright, but if there's no yes or no questions from the audience, I'll go into a collective reading and end this with a collective reading. I've been through that so many times. I think there is just a fear that this one will turn out. Same. They'll turn out the same. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not, it won't. But I said this on somebody's stream, or not somebody's stream, but someone's vlog the other day, and I said every failed relationship is to get you to the most important relationship. And that is the one with yourself. Gotta let the heart do what it was made for, which is to beat itself up. Oh my god, jeez. Let's see what it seems like. But yeah, let me walk around the house and pull some collective cards, guys. Oh, you're coming with me. We're going on an adventure around my house. Because apparently all my oracle decks are in my room right now and don't know why. Very strange. I guess I decided to put them all away last night. I don't know why. Let's do this one, because I want to do some fun-loving ones. This one is, take a magical fucking journey, guys. Take a magical fucking journey. We're also going to do Therapets. We're kind of doing a playful one today. I don't know why, but I feel like it. So I think we need a little bit of comedy in our lives, right? We don't need to be serious all the time. So we're going to do this. Adventure! Yeah, we went on an adventure. I love this song. Okay, and then we're also going to do this one, the affirmations. And this one is also a comedy deck, and it says 50 affirmation cards to help you help yourself without the self-helpy nonsense, okay? Because it's rude. They're rude cards. You ready for some really rude, mean cards to talk to us? You ready? So this is a collective reading. This is for everybody that is here, as well as everybody that watches this video on YouTube, because I'm going to be posting it on YouTube. So if you're seeing this, this is for you. I really feel like these Therapets don't really fit, but I'm going to do them last because it's going to give you the overall message in a nice way. Because, okay, so we talked about self-love and how we can't love ourselves until we can't love others until we love ourselves, and to not stagnate. And I don't know why I felt that we needed to have the comedy cards, but that's kind of how I feel right now. And as I read my cards, guys, I just kind of like, I feel the energy of it, and then I'm like, hey, yeah, this card. So we got 3 from the affirmation deck. That seems like a lot of cards there. You sure? Okay. It's a lot of cards. What? Seriously? That's weird. Okay, these 2 cards want to be by themselves. I don't know why. So we're gonna put them over there. So I have... Sorry guys, like I said, I'm an energy reader, so I'm kind of like trying to figure out what the cards want to do. I'm gonna put this with this deck down here. Put these 2 cards are with me, but I don't know where they're going. Okay, I don't know what the fuck's going on with these cards, but I'm putting them aside because I don't know what to do with them right now. But they want to be out, but I have no idea why. So we're gonna play with this. We're gonna make this happen. And I that's weird. That's never happened before. But those 2 cards want to be over there for now, so they can sit over there. Okay, so we got 2 cards from the Therapets, and now these cards. Oh, they're gonna liven up the Therapets. Okay, so we have 1 card. So this is the layout. So you guys know what I'm looking at here. So we have 2 of these cards by themselves. Whee! Then we have these 3 with the 1 card on here. Then we have the Therapets with the 2 here, and then we have 2 by themselves over here. These are last. So I think I'm gonna read them in the order in which I think, but weird, we have a lot of these joke cards everywhere, so let's see what kind of message we get here. Mini adventures. Yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen with this reading, though. The adventure deck. I mean, I'm trying to get a bunch of different kinds of decks, because, you know, we have all kinds of different moods, so... Okay, we're gonna start with these 2. These ones say, love the fuck out of your friends. Life is better with them, and there's just something you can't do without them. So, guys, love and appreciate the people around you. But at the same time, this card says, self-care isn't for fucking pussies. Do something kind for yourself today and every day. Make a list of things that you can do to treat yourself, and break into the categories of free and expensive. Free and expensive. So categories of free and expensive. Leave the list somewhere you can see it every single day and get in the fucking habit of spoiling the shit out of you. So guys, while these relationships with our friends are really important, we need to remember that the relationship with ourselves is even more important in order to keep these relationships intact. Okay? So these they're going together to let us, to remind us, yes, love the appreciation out of the people around us, but we also need to appreciate ourselves. Make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and it'll take care of these, right? Okay, so let's get into the next ones. Mini adventures. Sorry. Facts. Okay, so then this one is inspiration. There is a voice of inspiration within me. Right now, it's only a whisper, but the more I listen, the louder it will get. Soon it will be a flawless speech, voiced by James Earl Jones through a megaphone with lots of applause. Okay. So, inspiration here, guys. The next one is joy. So we are trying to be inspired for joy. Ooh, cute. Okay, I looked ahead. Inspiration for joy. Then we got a little popcorn thing right here. It says, to enjoy something, I simply need to add joy to it. Joy is like butter. I can put it on anything and it makes it all the way better. Today, I will add joy to everything. Really slather it on. Today, I am the Orville... What? Rickenbacker of joy? Who is that? Who is that, guys? I don't know who that is. And Life's Popcorn is about to get it. So we're trying to be inspired. And I love that peacefulness is the next card, guys, because joy is fleeting. A lot of people talk about like joy and happiness being the ultimate goal, but actually the ultimate goal is peace. Because inner peace is what ultimately is the opposite of sorrow. Sorrow you can hold on for days, depression you can hold on for days, but peace is actually the opposite. We can hold peace just as long. Joy is fleeting. So we want to be inspired to have joy, but we also want to have that peace. So having a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart, there is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way, so we can all keep enjoying it, and I get my security deposit back. So this is also talking about how peace comes with boundaries, guys. We need to have those boundaries, and that's where it comes in, like, these friends and stuff like that, and doing these with these friends, having the self-care, and sometimes self-care is boundaries, so we need to have that boundaries. Yes, it's fun in games to have fun with our friends and to be inspired by the people around us, but we do need to make sure that we have these boundaries. So this one is, everyone's a teacher. Everyone I came across paths with is a teacher at the moment. The one who gives me the fun lessons are the ones I call friends. The ones who give me the hard lessons I sometimes call an a-hole. They've chosen a tough job, but everyone's got to do it. So today I'm thanking all of the assholes. Thank you, assholes, for playing your part in making me a better person. Now I want popcorn. Roger, I need to cover myself in butter. Is that what you got from that? Come on. Cover yourself in butter. But I was talking about that. Guys, sometimes our friends come and go in seasons. Sometimes they're there for a long time. Sometimes they're just there to teach us a lesson. And that also goes with people that aren't our friends. People come into our lives and teach us those moments. And that's what I said. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. This thing, you know. This thing right here. Follow that heart. And you'll be taught those lessons that you need. It'll bring you joy and inspiration. But here's the last part of this part of conclusion of this particular card reading. This part of it. Conquer your negative inner bitch. So it says inner bitch is calling you. I now pronounce you blocked and deleted. Nobody is allowed to bring negativity into your life, especially not the voice in your head. Keep that place a fucking sanctuary. So no down talking yourselves, guys. No negative inner talk is what it's saying. So, you know, we are hard on ourselves. Others are harder on ourselves. But, you know, and that's why we have to have those boundaries, and why those boundaries are so important, which is, you know, right here, the boundaries. And we just hope to spread joy and inspiration to our friends, you know, bringing these things, but we do need to make sure that we're not, our energy isn't been taken for granted. All right. And now we're getting into the Therapets part. So I'm going to pull the first Therapet, and it says, right here, there's no need to be so hard on yourself. You're managing as best as you can. There's obviously some people in here that are having a lot of negative back talk, guys. Like, negative inner talk. Don't be so hard on yourself, okay? You're doing the best you can currently, and it's kind of calling us out, so that's what this part of this reading is. And then this is the card that goes with it, so let's see what it says. Calm the fuck down, it says. Calm the fuck down. You see this? 98% of your problems would be solved if you stopped overthinking things. You can't stop shit from happening, so learn to breathe through the ups and downs, okay? Okay, guys? Don't be so hard on yourself. Calm the fuck down. It's us that causes it. So with our overthinking, you know, that inner bitch that keeps talking shit. We need to be nicer to ourselves. Okay, so then this is the last Therapet here. You are worth caring for. Sorry, what? You are worth talking? No, sorry, caring. What? Oh! I can't read cursive. You are worth taking care of. You're worth taking care of, guys. You're worthy of other people's care, okay? So please let them in. Let's see what the card is that backs this one. Where did I do with it? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. So this is the one that goes with this. You're allowed to let people care about you. Sometimes the best things you can do is say, fuck off. There's a lot of bullshit around you. Remember, keep your inner peace at the top of your priority list when you're feeling overloaded or some motherfucker is draining your energy with some negative shit. Repeat after me, fuck off. Okay, so we need to take care of ourselves. This again is about the inner care and making these boundaries, guys. And the common theme with all these readings so far is that we are hard on ourselves and we are allowing people into our energy that doesn't necessarily deserve it, and that we need to be working on our inner love and our innermost self in love. So making those boundaries is a part of self-love, caring for yourself. And when it says you are worthy of taking care of, this is you taking care of yourself. And a lot of people don't allow this. They don't allow themselves, okay? So these are the last two cards. These are the stand. These two have a message for us, independent to the other ones. Look on the fucking bright side, this one says. It has rainbows. Nobody ever ruined their eyesight by looking on the bright side. Not everything in your life is fucking merry, but you can still choose to focus on the silver lining in any situation. No matter how fucking small it is, be that bitch that sprinkles sunshine toppings everywhere you go. So again, inspire, guys. Inspire, inspire, inspire. Bring that joy. We're talking about this again. Inspire that joy. Bring joy, bring joy. And then this one says, be fucking decisive. Again, guys, if you're overthinking things and you're not making decisions, it's gonna mess with you, because that's not self-love, that's not self-care. Choosing not to make a decision is a form of stagnation. And what were you talking about? We don't want to stagnate, so you need to make these decisions. And it says, right or wrong, make a decision. The road is life to pave with flat squirrels, but couldn't make a decision. The road of life is paved with flat squirrels that couldn't make a decision. Holy crap, that's dark. Guys. Don't overthink. Don't be mean to yourself, okay? Don't overthink it. Make a decision. We are the reason that we're having a hard time making decisions. We need to calm the fuck down, and we need to allow ourselves that peace to know that we are doing the best we can currently. Quit overthinking it. But we also need to make sure that we are telling people to back off. We are making those boundaries with people to protect our heart. We are also taking care of ourselves. But then we're also bringing that inspiration to others, and loving our friends, as well as those assholes, guys, because they're all here to teach us a lesson. All of these things, ultimately, is the journey. Self-love, guys. Don't stagnate. Keep growing! Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that really mean reading of yelling at us and being confrontational with us. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Hope it resonated. Make some decisions. Love yourself. Putting these cards back. Where am I going? There we go. Woo! I didn't know how that was gonna go. There was cards all over the place. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. I love your TED Talk. Oh, thank you for coming to my TED Talk, Monk. Alright, well, yeah, next time I'll read further in the book if you guys want that. If not, then I'll just wait for questions. I'll probably just, like, start the live, wait for a few questions, and then once the questions die down, I'll go into reading the book, and we'll see. And I'll keep putting them on YouTube. I'll try not to read the same chapters, the ones that go on YouTube. But yeah, a lot of the chapters are going to change and grow. Definitely that last one, Do Not Stagnate one. It was kind of like bare bones, still needs a lot of work. But, alright, well, I love you guys. I'm going to send you guys out. And I will try to be back on tomorrow, probably be earlier in the day. I'll do some more free readings and just hanging, so if you're up for spiritual talk and possibly listening to more book or just coming in for a collective reading, I'll see you soon. Love you too, Blend! Heading on out. Bye, guys!